sometime. Forgetting all that I once loved. Feel like I died. Hope is gone away. Fingers cold and numb. Eyes fade into white. Darkness overcomes. Bleeding from this pen. My soul.
What is going on, you guys? It is Thursday afternoon. A lot has been going on over the past couple of weeks, as usual. This nonstop freight train of Trump agendas and leftist hate and everything you can think of going on in the news cycles. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start with just a brief recap of what went on last week that kind of led into some of the stuff that's going on right now and has gone on over the last 24 hours. It has been a crazy 24 hours. So we're going to share a little bit of that with you right now. We're going to jump, like I said, right into a recap of last week. And thankfully, Miss Carolyn Levitt sums it up really nicely. So I'll let you hear from her on that topic right now.
Hey guys, it's a beautiful day here at the White House, and it's been another great week. Let's go through all of the historic actions that President Trump took this week to help you, the American people. Companies like Hyundai, Rolls-Royce, and Schneider Electric announced billions of dollars in new investments into the United States to create jobs for hardworking Americans. The president signed a proclamation levying 25% tariffs on foreign automobile imports, encouraging companies to build vehicles right here in the United States of America. The White House recognized the bravery and service of Medal of Honor recipients in the White House on Medal of Honor Day. The president welcomed some of the country's strongest and most intelligent women to the White House to celebrate Women's History Month. And the president signed an executive order to make D.C. safe and beautiful once again. And the Trump administration executed a very successful operation to apprehend a top MS-13 ringleader just 30 minutes outside of our nation's capital. Every day, because of this president, America is safer. We'll see you for next week's MAGA Minute.
So, yeah, like I said, whole bunch of stuff going on, lots of different news-worthy moments throughout the last week. But all of that's led into this week. And you guys probably saw over the weekend, there was a massive amount of protests and paid for protests, they say. But nevertheless, there were protests with lots and lots of people showed up to be a part of these protests. Not many of them really knew what they were protesting. On top of that, it's just a bunch of leftist hate and garbage for Trump and his administration, which has just been pouring out into the airwaves. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But the leftists aren't alone in some of this. Trump has deemed these people Panicans, people who are so short-sighted they can't see the bigger picture that's coming down the road. One of those being Ben Shapiro, which has just absolutely been a disappointment. Ben, I don't know what you're doing, buddy, but maybe just be patient and try to see the bigger picture. You keep asking questions that have already really been answered over and over again by this very transparent Trump administration. Let's jump into all of that right now, guys, right here on the Southern Draw Podcast on Southern Traditions. Let's get it. So Ben Shapiro, man, I listen to him a lot, man. He's good when it comes to politics. He's good when it comes to social movements and things like that. He speaks on those things so very, very good. However, Ben more and more today sounds like he's a paid-off mouthpiece for doom and gloom, like a doom and gloom mainstream media figure. I guess fear sells, and Ben's definitely engaged in what sells at this point. Just black pills all around, Ben. You're like a black pill pusher at this point. Like, I don't even understand. It's all doom and gloom with you at this point. Like, instead of, and you know, he always starts out his podcast with, we cover the facts here. This is what we do here on the Daily Wire. We cover the facts, and we're going to cover the facts. Everything we do is facts. Yeah, but you're ignoring a lot of facts. You're ignoring a lot of facts these days. You're pulling your opinions, and you're pulling your sources are basically either leftist analysts or they're libertarian analysts. Bottom line, they can all be roped into one category: Trump-hating analysts. Instead of listening to the actual people that are under Trump's wing, that are literally telling you the answers to your questions, that the answers aren't good enough for you. You want like immediate gratification on things like all the time now. He's like, Israel promised to drop all of its tariffs against the United States, and yet they got hit with tariffs anyway. What is Trump doing? Well, Trump would be stupid to take anybody's word for anything at this point until it is hardcore, written down in stone, signed agreements, ironclad agreements with these countries. Their word don't mean anything. What Trump's doing, it seems to be plain and clear to anyone paying attention. He is forcing the world markets to a negotiation table where they can negotiate terms of trade deals with the United States. Why tariff these people? Some people are saying these aren't actually reciprocal tariffs. Well, in many cases, yes, they are reciprocal tariffs, but in other cases, there's added tariffs to these. So this isn't reciprocal. Well, in those cases, Trump's made it clear, his administration has made it clear, you will be tariffed if you have even trade barriers in place. What does that mean with trade barriers? Well, let's think about this. If you go to Germany right now, you won't see Ford trucks on the roads in Germany. Why is that? Because they don't allow them to be sold there. It's as simple as that. If our products can't be sold in your country, that's a trade barrier. No, you may not be tariffing our nation, but you're also refusing to deal and trade in our products, which is also hurtful to our industries. So Trump is saying you will either be tariffed if you're tariffing us, you will be tariffed as well, equally. You will also get a tariff if there are an additional tariff if there are trade barriers in place. You want all those tariffs to go away? You want a deal that's going to allow fair trade between both nations, which would, by the way, benefit not just the United States, but both nations involved in that agreement? Then you need to come to the table. Trump can say that all he wants. I want everybody to come to the table. We need to negotiate fair trade. And you can look over history. This has been said many times. Many times this has been said by other administrations, other experts. And what happens? Nothing happens. You get nations over in the EU that go, yeah, we hear you. We'll get on that. We'll look into it. We'll look into it? When? All the while, the United States and our industries continue to suffer? Trump said, no, we're not doing that anymore. You want to know what this trade war that they keep talking about, this tariff regime, as Ben Shapiro calls it? Why are these tariffs happening? It's to force these people off of their asses and into a negotiation room where we can talk about how we're going to make things better for both of our countries, or else you could just deal with the tariffs. You can deal with that if you want. I mean, it's plain and simple. People say, well, we don't need to be in a trade war with our own partners. We're not in a trade war with our own partners. We are incentivizing our partners to come and talk to us about what is actually fair for both countries. This is common sense, man. Now, is it going to hurt a little bit in the beginning? Yeah. Yeah, it is. I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks, guys. These tariffs aren't going to feel good in the beginning, but the outcome in the end is what we're after. Yeah, there's going to be a little nauseating effects as we go through the beginning processes. But in the end, America will be great again because of it. Your wallet will be great again because of it. Our industries will be great again because of it. This is something that short-sighted Panicans, as Trump has deemed them, can't seem to grasp. And Ben being one of them. Let's listen to Ben Shapiro here, who only deals in the facts here at the Daily Wire, only on the facts. We only deal in facts. We want to bring you nothing but facts. Let's listen as Ben spews some, opinions not based in facts. You can tell by Ben's little report here that he 100% is speaking from emotions tied to money and not in facts.
Yesterday, Israel announced zero tariffs on any American goods. The Trump administration hit them with a 17% tariff anyway, claiming that they had a 33% tariff rate on American goods, which clearly is not true. Why? Because it turns out that we buy more stuff from the Israelis than the Israelis buy from us. Shocker. They're a smaller country. We're a giant market. Not a giant shock, as it turns out. So
there you go. Ben is admitting that the Israelis don't buy our products. He's saying they don't buy our products because they're a smaller country. No, they don't buy our products because they simply don't want our products. That's it. That's a trade barrier. So they got hit with a tariff on account of that. Israel said they were going to drop all their tariffs. Cool. Yeah. Now come to the United States, bring a representative, sign on the dotted line that we will have a manageable trade agreement moving forward that can't be willy-nilly tossed around and changed as you go, where we won't see this reversed as soon as you see some other politician step into the White House. No, we don't want that. We want rock-solid trade agreements that benefit the United States of America. And Israel, to their credit, is willing to do that. That's exciting. That's exciting news. Ben should be excited about this, rather than lamenting the fact that Trump is actually doing one of the most radically good things that the nation's ever seen, as far as our industries go, as far as our trades go with other nations, as far as our economy goes. Yeah, the market's down. So everybody's freaking out because the market's down. The market will rebound. The market will rebound. The market, by the way, it's down for a number of reasons. Trump definitely does take ownership of part of this. We would be untruthful to say that he doesn't have a hand in what's going on in the market today and yesterday and the day before that. But the past administration also dumped a ton of money into that market. And what we're seeing right now is that the market rose and rose and rose to try to get the Democrats reelected. And that failed. And now that money's drying up. So there are going to be some changes on account of that as well. So all of that has to be worked through. Trump also has responsibility for some of what we're seeing in the market. And because he does have responsibility in this, it is his duty now to make sure that that market does rebound. And I believe Trump's working really hard to make that happen. You're going to hear Ben say here that Trump doesn't seem to have an off-ramp. He doesn't seem to have a plan. He needs to lay out what the plan is. Trump's laid the plan out. Come and make a deal with the country so that you can have those trade barriers removed from our nation so that we can trade with you. You can buy our products again. And we will also be buying products from you. We can eliminate these tariffs, and then both countries win. That's the off-ramp, Ben. It can't be stated. It's been stated over and over and over again. Over and over again.
Pretty crazy. I have friends, for example, who import product to the United States and then sell them. Why? Because they can't get the product in the United States. So, for example, I have a friend who's in the jewelry business. And this friend in the jewelry business imports products that are not capable of being manufactured or found in the United States from abroad. So it's not like there's import substitution you can just buy from an American. That's not how it works. By the way, this company is an American company. The tariff that is now being applied to all of his imports is like 35, 40%. Those prices will get passed directly on to the consumers if consumption goes down, if investment goes down, because investors are freaked out because they're getting whipsawed like nobody's business. Again, I was talking with investors pretty much all day yesterday, given what was going on. And the number one thing that I was hearing from major investors is, I don't know what the hell is going on. That was the number one thing, before and after.
He's right. You don't know what's going on. It takes time to work through the process. This is another thing. These trades were implemented on April 2nd. They literally just took effect, like truly took effect, over the last 48 hours. Or these tariffs, rather. Did I say tariffs? I probably did. They just literally took effect. So it's been a week that this has been going on. And we don't know what's going on. No, we don't know what's going on yet because these countries, which started out as 50, then it jumped up to 70. Now it's over 75 nations around the world. It's literally like half the nations of the world are ready to deal and are ready to sit down and have a conversation with the Trump administration and make a deal that benefits both nations. That's the goal, Ben. And it takes time to make that happen. You don't know what's happening. These investors don't know what's happening. Right, I get it. They don't. Trump has implemented this, and it takes time to get all the players, rather, to the table to make the deal. That time has to happen. It has to. The real crazy thing is all these people are pushing for Trump to drop this trade thing, drop this tariff thing, stop doing this, don't do these tariffs, don't do this anymore. Well, Trump paused the tariffs, and now they're all mad that he paused the tariffs. It's absolutely insanity.
The amount of confusion, chaos in the markets, a feeling of complete dyspeptic ulcer-ridden kind of churn, that is very real, and that is not good for markets.
Not good for markets. That is not good for markets, Ben says. Markets rose yesterday after the Trump announcement that he would be pausing tariffs for 90 days as they work to solidify these deals with all of these countries. Markets rose at a historical rate to a historical level, literally in a matter of 30 minutes. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Now, we're seeing those markets start to cool today. Markets are down a little bit from yesterday. Yesterday was a huge day. The markets are down today, which is to be expected. The markets will soar as everybody dumps money in, and now you're starting to see some of that pullback. But the markets are still high. They're still doing very, very well as of today. So what do other people think about this? Well, I can tell you the left is freaking out. First off, the left was super angry, super angry about these tariffs to begin with. They were super mad about it. This is terrible. How is he doing this? He's going to ruin the country. He's going to ruin the country, they said. Let's listen here as this is Representative Stephen Horsford, a Democrat from Nevada, is grilling one of Trump's financial advisors, or one of Trump's the Trump cabinet members, about the tariff plans. And as he's doing this, the advisor here, Greer, he finds out that the plan to pause the tariffs had gone through. And this Democrat loses his ever-loving mind. How dare Trump pause the tariffs now? Hey, we're here because you don't like the tariffs and you don't think the tariffs should be implemented in the first place. But now that the tariffs are paused, you are freaking out and losing your mind. Why? Because you can't fuss about the tariffs, or because Trump just did something really historical that makes a lot of sense and is like making the market look good, and it doesn't look good for Democrats? Which one is it? I mean, I think probably both, if I'm being honest. Let's listen in on this one.
Mr. Trade Representative, are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
I am, yes.
When were you made aware of that?
Well, I understood the decision was made a few minutes ago. It's something
Sitting here,
that's under discussion.
sitting here under discussion. So did you know that that this was under discussion, and why did you not include that as part of your opening remarks?
So typically what I don't do is divulge the contents of my discussions with
What are the
President
details of the
Congress.
pause?
Well, my understanding is that because so many countries have decided not to retaliate, we're going to have about 90 days.
No, excuse me?
So he gets the details. It's like,
China in
I love this. What are the details of the pause? Well, here's the details of the pause. This is what we're doing. He gives him the answer. Now, this man's going to go on later and leave this room and go out into the hallway and film a video for TikTok or for X here, and he's going to tell the world that this guy didn't have any answers. Literally, you ask a question, you get an answer, you don't accept the answer, so you say that the other guy didn't answer your question. Okay, these Democrats are absolutely out of their minds.
increase their tariffs on the United States, Trump blinked.
Trump blinked when China increased their tariffs on the United States. Trump didn't blink. China hit back. Trump hit back way harder. 125% tariffs. In fact, I'm hearing today it's going up to 145%. But Trump has also announced that China has reached out and has decided that they do need to make a deal. They do. They need to do that. That's what's in the best interest. Why? Because China has been literally isolated against the world. They have literally are about to be tariffed to death and are about to lose all their trade partners because everybody wants to deal with the greatest consuming nation in the world. We are the largest consumer nation in the world. We are who people need to do business with in order to stay afloat. China is not. And China knows they need to do business with us as well. Let's continue listening.
What's the blink, sir?
What do you know about this pause? What are the details of it?
He just told you.
Details, as I understand it, is that China continues to retaliate. Other countries didn't retaliate. The president 2 or 3 days ago said we wanted to negotiate with those countries that asked for meetings. That's what we're doing.
What are the
We've had
details?
discussions.
How long is the pause? How
Oh
many
my
days?
God. He just told you 90 days.
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've
So
been
the
in this
trade
hearing.
representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade.
Yes, I have. I've
And
just
yet
been in the
he's-
hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet. WTF? Who's in charge?
WTF, who's in charge? Is this guy serious, man? Is this guy... This is a Democrat politician literally sitting here saying, WTF, who's in charge? Does he not know who's in charge? I know that was probably a really good question during the Biden administration. Who is in charge? Because they probably had all kinds of people in charge of all kinds of various things because Biden was surely in charge of nothing. So for him to say who's in charge as if this man sitting in front of him should be in charge of the decisions the president makes is absolutely, I can't hardly put into words how stupid that is. How stupid do you have to be to think that the president must get this guy's approval or that guy's approval before he can make a decision that he was elected to make? I don't understand the logic that goes on inside of the brain of the man you're looking at right there. That is just incredible to me. And he's going to say this more than once. Who is in charge? And the answer that is given to him is absolutely clearly the right answer, which you'll hear right now.
The president of the United States is in charge.
And what do
The
you know
president of the
about
United States is in
those
charge.
details?
Well, as I mentioned,
It looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs.
Pause the tariffs. He pulled the rug out from under this guy who apparently Horsford thinks should be in charge of the world's finances, of the United States' financial decisions, of the decisions that the president was elected to make, elected by the people to make. This guy in front of me is the guy that's supposed to be in charge, apparently, according to Horsford here. And he got the rug pulled out from under him. Why did he get the rug pulled out from under him? Because this guy didn't come in here and tell us all of the details that Donald Trump and him had talked about behind the scenes. Why would he do that? Why would he do that? He has no obligation to come in here and disclose to you private conversations between him and the president, especially things that national security and the world economy literally hinges upon. If this man were to walk in there that morning and just openly disclose, yeah, this is going to happen here in just a little bit, ahead of Trump's announcement, how irresponsible, how destructive in nature could that have been to the whole agenda, the whole plan, the whole idea of bringing these countries to the table to negotiate better trade deals? This man right here is so far off the map. He doesn't even belong in this room. I don't think he knows what he's doing or what he's saying. I don't think he knows how this is supposed to work. I think he has an overinflated sense of self that he believes he should have been given this information first thing this morning. I should have been told this so I could make trade deals. Whatever. Jeez.
Taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out 3 seconds ago, sitting here, we saw you.
we've been discussing a
If
variety
you
of these
came
actions.
here knowing that you were going to be turned off, that these tariffs were going to be turned off, why didn't you include that in your opening statement?
'Cause he don't
Why didn't
have
you
to.
reference that as part of your testimony.
Well, I don't disclose my conversations with the president, sir.
These were specific questions we asked you all along. What's the strategy? These are real consequences for the American people and small businesses. I had a group of small businesses in my office earlier today talking about the impacts of these tariffs on aluminum and steel. This is amateur hour.
So this is where this conversation gets weird. I was talking to someone this morning about how these tariffs are impacting their business, and now they've paused them. So you had a company talking to you about how these tariffs were bad for business, and now that the tariffs are paused, you're irate about it? You're angry that this has happened? He just said, and he's going to say again, how dare the president pause these tariffs, which are taxes against the American people? How dare he do that? This politician wants these tariffs to be in place, taxing the American people. I can only think because, well, that makes the Democrats look good. And now the Democrats don't look good anymore because we can't use this against Trump anymore. We got to figure out a new way to swing this. Are these Democrats ever going to be for the people of the United States? Are they ever going to be for anything other than their own power? I mean, I really feel like they will never, ever be that. The Democrats are openly pushing for a recession. And what they know just happened is that recession just got big time avoided. It just got big time avoided, and it's going to be hard to make it happen now. And a recession would be wonderful for Democrats right now. It would be wonderful, not for Democrat voters, for Democrat politicians. It would be wonderful because it would give them all the ammo they need to continue the Orange Man bad narrative. But how are we going to do that if he actually rescues and saves the economy and builds a better world trade system? And how are we going to make him look bad? And how are we going to make us look good? Our party is in shambles. It's crumbling. How are we going to survive Trump making things better? I mean, that's the anger you're seeing right now in these Democrats. They are irate because they don't know how to make him look bad.
It needs to stop. What does this even mean for your negotiating strategy? How are you in charge of negotiation if the president is tweeting about this from wherever the hell he is?
The president was elected, and he runs the trade policy, and I advise him and execute his trade policy.
Who executes the trade policy?
I execute the trade
Did
policy.
you know that this was happening?
We have been discussing all kinds of
And there's another
options.
member of the cabinet, Bessent, who just canceled coming to the Hill to avoid talking about the market because it's in turmoil. This in just days because there was no strategy, there was no plan. The president chose to take actions that he didn't even have the authority to take. He's put our economy in disarray and near collapse. We have small businesses and Americans who are concerned about their well-being, people's retirement, people's 529 accounts went down because of this administration. We have people that are planning to send their kids to college this fall. People who are retiring whose benefits have declined.
I wonder how they were feeling about 30 minutes after this speech when all of those accounts were higher than they've ever been. Because that is what happened yesterday. That is exactly what happened. This man is angry because he didn't have the inside knowledge that this was going to happen so that he could make some stock trades before it did. I mean, come on, guys. You have to know that's why this man's so angry. He is so mad. Him and a bunch of other lefties. You'll see. I'm going to show you a few more.
Is this market manipulation?
No, that's what you do.
If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation because the Trump administration chose not to disclose it publicly so that the market would not be manipulated. This was, we're making the decision and we're putting it out there. We're going to put it out there. Trump did put out a Truth Social post saying, now is the time to buy. He gave all of America. Now, you won't hear that from the Democrat, but he gave all of America a heads up. Things are coming. Things are good. Things are going to be good. Now's the time to buy. Go ahead and invest if you want to. Invest. How are the Democrats swinging this? Oh, he gave a heads up to his billionaire buddies. Now, he put that out to the whole world. We could all see it. I saw it. I didn't think to throw money at the stock market. I wish I would have. But I saw it. Everybody did. But it was just to his billionaire buddies, a heads up message. Come on, man. You Democrats are reaching so hard. You're desperate, and it's pathetic to watch. Gosh, it's so pathetic to watch.
Manipulation.
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
trying to reset the global trade system.
You're,
It has offshored,
and
all of our factories.
what has that
and
done?
offshored all of
How
our
have you
jobs.
done? How have you achieved any of that?
How?
But
Easy. I can answer that question for this moron. How did he accomplish that? He put a system into place that forced all of these partners and players to the table to make a deal. And all of them have signed up. They want that deal. They do. How has it worked out? It's worked out swimmingly. It's working great. Even China now is coming around and wants to make a deal. Something people said would never happen. Never. China's too big. China's tough. China's got a lot of money. China's going to show us who's boss. Well, we found out that didn't happen. It turns out China found out who the boss is. China found out we got to do something because this is going to wreck us if we don't make the deal. China's trying to figure out what that deal is going to look like. I have a feeling we're going to find that out pretty soon. China's going to make that deal.
Enact enormous harm on the American people, which was our concern from the very beginning.
Enormous
Tariffs
harm?
are a tool.
What enormous harm has befallen the American people? None that I'm aware of. The only harm that befell the American people was under Democrat leadership when they allowed millions of undocumented people to pour into our country. When they literally raised the inflation rate over 20%. By the way, inflation's down under 3% right now. Under 3%. The price of everything is falling. I'm looking right now, I see U.S. egg prices soar to record highs despite predictions. A little quick scroll through that thread, and you see they're back on the eggs. Eggs are high. Back on the eggs thing, man. That's all they got. We got eggs. We got eggs. We're not going to acknowledge that the stock market's doing well. We're not going to acknowledge that the price of gas is down and the price of oil per barrel is lower than it's been in a long time, since 2021, I think. We're not going to acknowledge that the world trade partners all around the world are both pausing tariffs on the United States. They are setting up meetings with United States officials to make good and fair trade deals. We're not going to acknowledge any of those things. We don't want to talk about that. But eggs. We're not also going to acknowledge that the Democrats literally killed like 100 million chickens right before Joe Biden left office. But eggs are expensive. For some reason, it must be Trump's fault. It must be. Absolutely hysterical, these people.
Used in the appropriate way to protect U.S. jobs and small businesses. But that's not what this does. So if it's not market manipulation, what is it? Who's benefiting? What billionaire just got richer? And all the while, there are not even any Republicans left in this hearing. They all left because they don't even want to defend this. But meanwhile, the speaker is rushing.
Now, as this man continues to sit here and lie, because he is lying, that's what the Democrats do, lying leftists, he's going to get called out at the end of this and fact-checked by the chair. So hold out for that.
Rushing to the floor to pass a budget reconciliation to screw America by passing the biggest tax cut in history?
To screw America by passing the biggest tax cut in history. I'm sorry, how does that work in this man's tiny little brain? I don't know about you, but I voted for lower taxes. This man is literally saying, we want to tax our people to death, and that somehow is good for the nation. I don't know, man, how you connect those dots.
On the backs of the American people? WTF?
WTF?
Who's in charge?
The president, sir. The president.
Because it sure doesn't look like it's the trade representative. You just got the rug.
It's not the trade representative. He's not in charge.
I wish
The president is.
I could feel some empathy.
You don't need to feel
The
empathy.
empathy I have
We're doing
is for the
great.
American people,
We're doing great.
whose very well-being and livelihoods are being affected. This is not a game. This is real life.
Sure is. You need to stop trying to play.
Let the
Fact checks.
reflect that there's more Republicans in this chamber than there are Democrats.
Interesting.
Currently in this committee room. There's 6 of us. There's 5 of you. So let's make sure we get the facts right. I appreciate the president did not blink on China, as was said earlier, and it needs to be corrected in the record. In fact, he increased China by 125%.
Would you
Mr. Yaka.
yield, Mr. Chairman?
I
Would
do
you
not.
yield? Can we have a colloquy?
No.
We don't want to talk about the trade policy here in the Trade Committee. This is our jurisdiction.
Your time has expired, and I'm more than
I asked
happy to
if you
talk
would
to you.
yield.
And I said no.
Because you don't want to defend the policy or the strategy. Kick me out. What you gonna do? Kick me out?
Mr. Yaka.
Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. This is the Democrats. Kick me out. Kick me out. I want to be famous. I want to get more clicks. I want people to see what happened. Man, look, you got up there and acted like an idiot, like a fool. You sounded like a moron. And you're going to be famous. You're going to be famous for that, for sounding like a moron. Don't worry. There's going to be a lot of little extreme lefties going to love you for what you did. So you'll get your moment. But bottom line, you didn't have nothing to say of any substance, nothing to say that meant anything. You're mad, first off. If you could see what was going on literally like 10 minutes before this, that same guy is just lamenting the fact that Trump's got tariffs in place. That's his big thing. These tariffs are terrible. They're causing all this extra taxes on the people. It's a problem. Why is he doing this? And then all of a sudden the tariffs get paused. And he goes, did you know that this was going to happen? Because now I look stupid. This is cutting taxes against the people. How dare he pause these tariffs? Golly, man, you can't make a lefty happy. It just is not a possible thing to do. They are just miserable people, and they will never be happy, no matter what Trump does. Why? Because Trump is doing it. Just 3 years ago, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi were advocating for and pushing for and trying to implement reciprocal tariffs against trade partners around the world. And now that it's done by Trump, it's evil and the world is ending. Boy, that's the mind of the left, and that's how it works. Let's listen to, what was this guy's name again? Horsford. Let's listen to Horsford again. This is moments later outside of that chamber.
So we had the U.S. Trade Representative here before our committee. Literally, while he was sitting here, breaking news, Donald Trump tweets from the White House that he was pausing these tariffs, which are taxes on the American people.
That's a good thing, Representative Horsford. That's a good thing. I mean, this guy has to be checking the stock market right before this and has to see that the stocks are soaring through the roof at this point. But he goes up, he puts this out on X anyway. He paused taxes against the American people. How dare this evil orange man?
The trade representative who's really supposed to handle all of this negotiation on
No,
behalf.
the trade representative, by the way, guys, his job is to implement whatever the president directs him to do. The president directed this. He didn't need approval to do it. It's the president's decision. The trade representative just carries out the decision. But he couldn't do this in this particular moment because this guy and his cronies had our trade representative locked up in a bullshit hearing that probably shouldn't have been happening anyway. All morning long, he was stuck in this hearing trying to answer questions from retards like this one.
Half of the administration knew nothing about it in advance. We asked him specifically what this pause means, how long will it be, who does it apply to. He had no answers.
He gave you every answer to every one of those questions. What does it mean? Well, it's a pause on tariffs against countries that did not retaliate against us. Who does it affect? Countries that did not retaliate against us. How long? 90 days approximately. I mean, good grief, man. How many answers do you have to get before you accept one?
What this shows is chaos. It shows.
The only chaos being shown is from Democrats and lefties who cannot wrap their head around the fact that we have the greatest president of our time literally leading the country in the best direction our country's gone in our time. That's the chaos that we have. Chaos being created purposefully by the left in the form of paid-for protests across the nation.
Erratic actions by this administration. But the unfortunate part is this is affecting people back in Nevada and all across this country. The president promised to lower costs from day one, and his actions are doing the direct opposite.
Except that's not true. Costs have been lowered across the board. Inflation is down. Price of oil is down. Price of groceries is down. I mean, everything has been lowered. How can you stand there and say that that's not happening when it's actually and factually provably happening?
He imposed these tariffs based on an emergency about fentanyl getting across our border. What happened to that? That is the rationale that he used for declaring his authority to institute these taxes. So we are going to continue to speak up, to defend my constituents, to protect.
Good for you. Yeah, no, actually, Trump ran on the fact that he was going to implement tariffs and he was going to force fair trade across the world, that our country was going to get its industries back, its jobs back. We were going to have investments into this country. And as of today, it's over $6 trillion worth of investments into the industrial industry, into the tech industry, into all the industries that make America awesome. What comes with these trillions of dollars? Jobs. Jobs comes with these trillions of dollars. You got Ben Shapiro saying this isn't going to create jobs. It's not. We've given up our jobs not to overseas companies but to machines. Yeah, who builds the machines, Ben? Who services the machines, Ben? Who programs the machines, Ben? I don't know about you, but I don't want to go work some little slave labor job like the Chinese do, sewing by hand stuff to send to Americans. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Why would we do that when we could get high-paying jobs where we're literally programming machines, we're running stuff, we're working IT, we're working maintenance on these types of machines, keeping these factories going? That's the jobs we need here. High-paying jobs for the American people. Careers, not just jobs, careers where people can actually thrive again in this country. People can actually afford things again in this country, where we can be a producer sending out our products and have our products actually bought by other countries instead of rejected before they ever even get there. Trade barriers. No, that's why some of these tariffs are in place. There's reciprocal tariffs, and then there's tariffs because of trade barriers. If you want to know what the off-ramp is, it's simple. Come to the negotiation table, open the trade barriers, like do away with the trade barriers, do away with your own tariffs against our nation, and we'll do away with ours. We can make a deal where everybody benefits, where the American people can start seeing that long-forgotten American dream become a reality again. The left doesn't want this for you. The left wants you to own nothing and be happy about it. They've stated this. That is their goal. They were working hard to achieve it. You want to know what it looks like? Look over in the UK. Look at the UK. Look at the EU nations as a whole. Because they elected their Kamala Harrises. And now you see the consequences of what that looks like, what that entails. You want America to look like that? I sure as hell don't. But here we've got the Cowardly Lion asking us if we're the Cowardly Lion. I shit you not, man. This has got to be the Cowardly Lion. You got the Cowardly Lion asking us, is this what we wanted? Is this what you voted for, MAGA?
Dear MAGAs, are you happy now?
I actually am.
Is this what you wanted?
100%.
Is this what you were looking for?
Winning, winning, winning.
Is this the economy that you wanted to be a part of?
Yes, it's going to hurt a little bit here and there.
MAGA.
Put 'em up. Put 'em up. Which one are you first? I'll fight you both together if you want. I'll fight you with one paw tied behind my back. I'll fight you standing on one foot. I'll fight you with my eyes closed. Come on, get up and fight, you shivering junkyard. Put your hands up, you lopsided bag of hay.
But you know what? It's going to get better and better and better, and we're just going to keep winning. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am not tired of the winning yet. It's the only promise that Donald Trump made me that he hasn't fulfilled. He told me I would get tired of winning. I'm not tired yet. I don't know about you, but I'm not tired yet. Cowardly Lion. What a joke. So today, Trump did announce as well that the greatest and most important bill of our history. Congratulations to the House on the passage of a bill that sets the stage for one of the greatest and most important signings in the history of our country, among many other things. It will be the largest tax and regulation cuts ever even contemplated. Make America great again. Guys, this is huge. There's been some details leaking out about this, and it has to do with voter ID, that you will be required to present voter ID in order to register to vote. It has a lot of other implications. Even from what I've seen, $1 trillion worth of tax cuts are involved in this particular bill. So a lot of good things. Here we have concerning the tariffs. This was just to prove to you real quick that the inflation is down, because some people don't want to believe that. This is the U.S. Core Consumer Price Index as of like right now. And as you can see here, it is below 3%. You see that big old hump right there in the middle, that big old giant hump over the last couple of years? That's what Democrats do. That's the result of the socialist agenda they were trying so hard to push against our nation. With Kamala Harris as president, that hump would have gotten even larger. It would have grown to a mountain. But it's below 3% now. Good things. Now, here's Kevin O'Leary, who appeared on MSNBC. I love this MSNBC anchor because he realizes Kevin O'Leary's saying things that conservatives are going to like. How do I cut this? How do I nip this in the bud? I don't know what to do. He gets really rattled. But Kevin O'Leary dropping some truth bombs here. Basically says he's willing to support 1,000% tariffs against China if it forces China to the table. Why? Because he's going to give you. This is a businessman, one of many, who are advocating, who know what's going on, because they deal with it all the time. They are impacted by the unfair trade practices that take place all around the world, and China being one of the biggest ones that takes advantage of the United States.
What's your reaction to this now? I guess when they went over the math, it's not 125%, it's 145%, the U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods.
I've been an advocate for raising it to 400% in one move, to force Xi to the table, because this narrative with China is not just about tariffs. Since China joined the WTO in 2020, or it's actually 2000, they have not abided by the rules in any single year. There is no way you can figure out or settle a trade dispute with them, although they said they'd agree to do that. They never did. They have been constantly stealing American IP, including many from my companies. We have not been able to litigate there. There is no resolution available to us. They are using our financial markets. I have to compete with Chinese companies that don't abide by GAAP, listing on NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange for investors' dollars, and I am forced to comply, and they're not. They're allowed to use our legal system to sue me here in the United States. I can't do the same in China. So I'm just one hand. I put up my hand. I was testifying yesterday at the China hearings in Washington, and I said I've had enough. And I expect you, lawmakers, and the administration to finally go to task and settle this once and for all, because I don't care if it's 1,000% tariffs. They have to come to the table now and not just settle this trade war. They need to settle all of this unbalanced situation. We need, all of us, look, I have nothing against the Chinese people. I love the Chinese people. All of their contributions to culture over the millennia is well documented. It's the government. They cheat, they steal, they don't play by the rules, and I've had enough. And so I would like this thing worked out. I don't care about the volatility. I don't care if Trump ratchets it up 25% a day.
What do you mean? Wait, Kevin, what do you mean you don't care about volatility if volatility has a direct impact on us as consumers?
Because we have to fix this problem once and for all. It's killing
100%.
us. It's killing small business in America. It's killing large businesses. All the IP these guys steal. You go back and look at all of their technological advancements, and this is a personal estimation, you're going to find source code from American companies back 4 decades ago. These guys don't play by the rules. And administration after administration, whether it be European or American, have not dealt with this. It's enough. We've got to solve this problem. Okay. Now, if we have to squeeze Chinese heads to the wall, as I said yesterday when I was testifying, so be it. I'm willing to live with the volatility to get the long
100%.
situation settled.
Short term versus long term.
Keep in China. I want to open up those markets.
If what you're saying is carried out to its ultimate solution, you're talking about the fact that China, the regime, has a system in place that is able to manipulate the world, its currency, and everything else because of its totalitarian nature. Now, we can talk about what happened in 48. We can talk about what happened with Taiwan. We can talk about everything else. But Kevin, it's a reality. The Cultural Revolution in China killed millions of people so that people would remember that they had to remain
stupid argument.
silent. What you're saying is, I've had enough with China, but
you're good with it?
No,
you're okay with it?
No. On the contrary, but what I'm asking you is, what is the solution to dealing with China, a system that systematically violates human rights,
Here's how
and
it
that
works.
is able to use?
Well, you asked me, I'm going to tell you.
Right?
You got Xi.
Okay.
He's the supreme leader for life. What keeps him in power?
Yes.
Keeping people employed and fed. Now, when you shut down a factory, I think Janice Mackey-Ferrer just on before me, he's talked about this. When you shut down a factory, you put thousands, if not tens of thousands of people unemployed in China. They take burning torches, just like in a Frankenstein movie, up to the castle, and that's a bad outcome for the supreme leader. He knows that. Now, what's the largest consumer market on earth? The United States. Almost 40% of all goods consumed worldwide. What's the largest GDP? 25 or 26% GDP of the world? The United States of America. China needs the United States of America. We have the upper hand right now.
100%.
We have the cards. Now's the time to settle this, because we may not be the largest economy forever, but right now we can squeeze Chinese, and I'm talking about the government, not the people, to comply with the laws and get a level playing field between China and the United States of America. If it takes a little volatility, a little indigestion, a little acid reflux, I don't care. I want this thing worked out now, because I can show you countless occurrences of where I've backed, as an investor, a company that gets to $5 million in sales with a consumer good or service on Amazon, on Alibaba, and then as soon as it hits $5 million, it's knocked off. They steal the IP, they manufacture it there, they sell it back into this market. I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with that anymore.
That's the nature of the.
So as you can see, American businesses are not okay with this
Kevin,
anymore.
what's your reaction to
They don't
this
want this
now?
stuff happening anymore. It's just that we need to figure out a way to bring China to the table, which apparently Trump has done. As you will see here, Trump made an announcement about this very thing. Kevin O'Leary was right to say what he said, and Trump knew it. Trump knows what to do here. He knows that Xi is a very smart guy, but he also knows that if he doesn't incentivize him and incentivize China, as well as the rest of these countries, then none of them are going to do anything. None of them are actually going to do anything other than talk.
Have a country. It wouldn't be sustainable. So I'm honored to have done it. And, look, nothing's over yet, but we have a tremendous amount of spirit from other countries, including China. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. It's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well. And they don't know quite how to go about it, but they'll figure it out. They're in the process of figuring it out, but they want to make a deal. Have a country.
So they want to make a deal. They're going to figure it out. Xi's a smart guy. He's going to figure it out. I'm hearing that there's a lot of other things happening right now, so I'm going to check in and see if there's anything live that I can bring to you guys, and if so, I will do that. Yeah, so looks like there is actually...
This is a lot of money that we could add. The country's making...
So this is happening live.
$2 billion a day. And when you think of it, we've never done that before. Never come close to it. And the number is probably $3.5 billion a day. And that makes us a
cabinet meeting.
Strong country. But we have Scott here and Howard and some of the people that are working on deals. And the biggest problem they have is they don't have enough time in the day. Everybody wants to come and make a deal. And we're working with a lot of different countries. And it's all going to work out very well. I think it's going to work out really very well. But we're in good shape. There's no inflation. There's very little inflation. And I went 4 years without inflation, and I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China and others, taxes in China. But we took in hundreds of billions of dollars a year from China, and we had no inflation, essentially. So we think we're in very good shape. We think we're doing very well. Again, there'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be a beautiful thing. We're doing again what we should have done many years ago. We let it get out of control, and we allowed some countries to get very big and very rich at our expense, and can't let that happen.
Can't let that happen. Trump's 100% right here, man. He's 100% right. Well, guys, look, there is a live cabinet meeting taking place, and I'm going to jump over to that live. This is actually a pre-recorded video that I'm making right now, so I'm not actually live in this moment. So I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to go live, and we can speak to you there. So check this video out. Check out the live video, and until we see you next time, thank you for joining us here on the Southern Drawl Podcast with Southern Traditions. Peace.
Blindly walking, I'm so lost. Gone for quite some time. Forgetting all